Hey fellas, today we're going to talk about something that I have not heard many people online address, and it's body image issues for men. Stay tuned if you've ever felt insecure about your body, or maybe your eating habits, you felt like maybe you have an eating disorder, or just things that generally we attribute more to women. And meanwhile, a lot of men struggle with this stuff. Just my personal experience, when I was younger, I was, I didn't really think about my body at all until like 13, 14 years old. I remember it was at basketball practice. One of my coaches came over with their iPad and wanted to take a video of me shooting in order to show me my form. And they took this video, showed it to me, and I remember just thinking, man, I'm fat. And from then on, I made like a promise to myself. I'm like, I am not going to be fat like this. I'm going to starve myself. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to skip meals as much as possible. And I began to equate this idea of being hungry, the feeling of being hungry, as good, and the feeling of being full with bad. Like this is something wrong, something off. And I didn't get to the point of anything like bulimia, which is like throwing up after you eat. But I definitely had a lot of guilt associated around eating and eating different things, even as a teenager. Now, to give you a little bit of perspective, I guess some people, there was definitely like maybe a year and a half in my teenage years where I was definitely more chunky. I wasn't by any means like obese or anything like that. And so this was definitely like some sort of form of body dysmorphia. I obviously didn't get diagnosed or anything, but just to understand, like at that point, I totally believe that all these body issues were only like kind of women experiences. So what I was experiencing was just normal feelings of I need to diet because I'm fat. I didn't realize that I'm like, okay, well actually my body's normal and I went through a growth spurt. I will go through a growth spurt too. And so usually boys chunk up a little bit before that happens. And so there are a couple things like that where I just didn't understand what was going on. And I think for you, I want you to understand that you're not alone in this, that if you feel insecurities about your body previously as a teenager or even now, you are not alone and your feelings aren't invalid. But at the same time, I want us to move forward with confidence, because over the last few years, I think I've really come to terms with my own body, if that makes sense, and gotten over a lot of those issues that I held around for a long time. And I want to tell you how I did that. And I think one of the first things that I did was coming to understand food as fuel. Okay, food as fuel. At that point, I was doing, when I was at the peak of maybe my body dysmorphia, which has been a couple different times, I would do lots of cardio and I would try not to eat. And that was kind of my regimen. I would not eat and I would do lots of cardio. And for guys, what that does is it means you're not building muscle and you're breaking down the muscle that you do have. And maybe you're going to be skinny, but you're going to be weak too. And that's not going to build any kind of confidence. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel hungry. You're going to feel tired and lethargic. And so that's kind of what I was experiencing. And it wasn't until I actually got in the gym and I started lifting weights and I recognized, okay, look, it's the types of foods that I just need to change, that it's not necessarily the quantity, but it's the quality of foods. And when that began to happen, I began to get so much more confidence where even if I felt a little bit chunky on a particular day, it wasn't as big of an issue because I knew, hey, look, I'm building all this muscle, all this food is going towards this, the fuel of me building muscle and getting stronger and stronger. And for those of you who are more familiar with the fitness world, and I'm not an expert by any means at all, very low level, but it's like at the same time, I'm like, well, I could cut some of these things out too if I wanted to cut. And I would still maintain that muscle and I'd feel much better about it. And just generally, my approach to food has become a lot more less guilt focused, saying, okay, I can't eat this or I can't eat this, but more just focused on what are my general routines and how can I establish good routines of eating, doing things that are healthy, and but things that are going to fuel me in a positive way. Now, one of the things obviously we need to address is our perspective of reality and to assess, is it true? Look, there are some folks out there that are actually obese and they need to make significant differences in their life. And that just is a reality. And there's other people that maybe are a little bit chunky and they can make changes in their life, but they still see themselves as like fat or obese. and that can lead them to harmful places. I think the thing we need to understand is that our bodies do not define us, right? So we can be in full acceptance of where we're at, but also desire to change. So I accept where I'm at, right? I'm not going to hate myself because of what my body looks like, or maybe some of the regrets I have about maybe not exercising or the foods that I've been eating. But at the same time, I'm going to let myself be motivated out of just a desire to steward the body that I have for God, as opposed to this self-imposed hate and guilt and shame of who I am, and then that leading me into movement. I know a lot of people use a lot of different fuels, and for some folks it's anger, it's frustration, it's guilt, it's shame. Ideally, I want you to approach this with a desire. If you are wanting to change something about your life, or establish better eating habits or working out habits, out of just a desire to steward what God has given you. It's never too late. You have plenty of time. Don't be in despair. Do not be in despair. One of the things that has really helped me is just to stop caring what other people think. Stop caring what other people think. I know that's hard to do. I know it's impossible to do. But recognize that people think a lot more about themselves and their own body than they think about you and your body and what you look like. Think about any time you take a picture with somebody, or maybe a group of people. Are they immediately looking to see if you look good in the picture? No, they're checking to see if they look good in the picture. That's how people are in general. They accept you for who you are. They don't care. They only care about themselves and how they look. Honestly, that's how it is. And when you realize that, then why would you not just be okay with who you are? Just be confident in who you are. So much of our trouble as men, as part of this generation, and I've had to work through this myself, is that number one, we're too nice. We're too people pleasing, and we don't have enough confidence in a lot of ways. Maybe there can be this artificial pride that kind of circles around, but when it comes down to it, we don't have core confidence in ourselves and who God made us to be that we need in order to actually take dominion. If you're constantly obsessed and thinking about how do I look, how do I appear, how does my body look, how can I, come off as, show myself to be, good looking or whatever else. And I'm not saying that there's a problem with presenting yourself in a positive way, but if that self-obsession is so rigorous, then you're going to miss out on the opportunity you have to put your attention elsewhere, onto other people, how to serve them, how to conquer your mission, how to actually build something worthwhile and meaningful. If you're scared to, put yourself out there because you're scared of how you look, or if you're scared to post a YouTube video because you think people think you're ugly, these are all things that are going to get in the way of you accomplishing the mission that God has given you. And I don't want you to have any of those hangups. So just know, I know there's things that have been spoken over you, words and wounds. Maybe somebody called you ugly. Maybe somebody called you fat. Maybe whatever. Their opinion means nothing. They are compensating for their own insecurities. They are trying to tear you down in order to make themselves feel better. I know that you know this, but I need to tell you this. I need to tell you that this is actually the truth. And so you can let go of those things now. You can let go of them, and you can embrace who you are in this moment. That doesn't mean you don't progress. That doesn't mean you don't seek for better and for more. But it does mean that in this moment, you can be content, you can be confident in the man that God created you to be. If you find yourself struggling with this stuff, I have an assignment for you. And it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, okay? Next time you're out in public, walk in stride, walk with your shoulders back, walk confidently. When you're sitting down, don't fold your hands over your stomach trying to hide yourself. Just be open, right? Understand this. The people that are around you that love you, they think you're awesome. They think you look awesome. They don't think about yourself the way that you do. And so you can let go of that. You can walk in freedom. You can be content and confident in who you are. You don't need to apologize for it. I just want you to be walk in just lightness. There seems to be a lot of heaviness going on with a lot of guys because they haven't talked about this stuff. It's often just seen as a girl's issue, whether it's eating disorders or body image issues, and it's not. It's not. It's a lot of guys. And so today, I just pray that you'd be able to walk in freedom and really just conquer the mission that God has for you in this moment and moving forward. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I love making content for you here on this channel. If you want to be part of the Brotherhood, subscribe because I'm putting out new videos all the time. Join us on our membership of this channel or on Patreon as well, and that helps support what I'm doing. Until next time, keep pursuing the mission.